Power Rangers.
Did I just hear you say Power Rangers?
So, welcome to another episode of Drivin Review. I just watched Power Rangers, and you know, it wasn't that bad. It was definitely more entertaining than I thought it would be. I didn't hate it, but it definitely wasn't good. It's right in the middle. Out of 10, it's a 5, like solid. Which, you know, I was expecting like a 3. So, but it almost makes it worse because it wasn't bad enough to laugh at. From an entertainment perspective, it wasn't bad enough to laugh at. But the movie had a lot of potential, and they set it up for another one. So I hope the next one does better, and I hope it doesn't go down the road of Transformers, where every movie just gets worse and worse until they reboot the series with all new actors, and it's awful. But yeah, so the plot is kind of basic. You know, it's pretty obvious from just watching the previews. You have the whole plot. There's not a lot to explain. It's just kids who are outsiders and they're all screw-ups or whatever, and they don't fit in, but somehow they all end up at the same place at the same time.
None of us really know each other, but we were all in the same place when Billy found those coins.
What is that?
Which, even for a movie, it doesn't make any sense. Like, literally, it's just somehow they all end up there. There are literally 2 characters that just end up at the mine when they find their ranger coins or whatever. They just show up. They're not introduced. You don't even learn the one girl's name until like halfway through the movie, and I don't even remember what it is. I don't remember anyone's name, so don't expect to hear names or even colors of Power Rangers, because I don't even remember who was who. Yeah, it's forgettable, really. In one word, the movie is forgettable. In 2 words, it's okay and forgettable. But the plot doesn't have a lot to offer. The characters don't have a lot to offer, and the actors don't really do anything for their characters because they're all terrible. It sounds a lot worse of a movie when I talk about it out loud, but the actors really aren't that good. I mean, what did you think, Cody? Right. So yeah, it's just really there's a lot of scenes where they try to deliver like original Power Rangers lines, you know what I mean? Like they say like "Go Go Power Rangers" or like "It's morphin' time," or when they first say Power Rangers out loud, it's like it's just awkward. Like, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to, because it's like it's so forced, and that's like the problem with a lot of it is like even the character development is like really forced. Like when they're like, well, here's this character's backstory, it's like super forced. Like the main guy and the main girl, I guess, I don't know, the Red Ranger and the cheerleader girl, I don't remember their colors or their names, but I think she was pink. They when they first meet, they're on the top of this mountain. Well, not when they first meet is in detention or whatever, Saturday school, whatever it is. And then when they meet on the mountain or whatever later, it's like so awkward and it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, oh, each character's like, let me say everything that I know about you.
That funny to you?
I feel the same way.
Yeah, Jason Scott, star quarterback, crashes and burns, destroys his career and destroys our season. Go Tigers.
Yeah, now I walk around town and everyone's looking at me like I ran over their dog.
And it's like, why? That doesn't make sense. Like, I think part of good character development is the ability to show someone the character instead of like having another character in the movie tell you about another character in the movie is just the worst way to describe a character to your audience. Have them show their qualities through their actions and what they do in the movie, because they're just, the whole movie, you get all the character development for the Red Ranger from like everyone else. They're just like, oh yeah, he's that kid that everyone knows, and he like plays football, but like, or he says it out loud, like, which I guess that's not too bad, but like when they meet, she's like, oh, I know exactly who you are. You're the star football player, blah blah blah, and this and that. It's like, okay, whatever. And then like 4 seconds later, she's like, let's run away together. Or he says it or something. But then later in the movie, she's like, I was really going to run away with you because I'm sick of this town. And it's like, you kids are so emo. What the heck? And then it didn't make any sense, because at the beginning of the movie, it's established that she is a cheerleader. She has cheerleader friends, but she crossed them, and now they don't like her. They literally cut her picture. They say, we're cutting you out of our lives. And they cut the picture. There's 3 of them. They cut her out of the picture. And then they take their picture and stab it on the bathroom wall with the scissors. Which didn't make any sense. Like, why don't you stab her picture on the wall and keep your own picture? But then they just threw her picture on the floor. So she gets to keep all the pictures. They cut her out. So then she cut her hair with the scissors they left. Which I guess is the only reason they left the scissors. Because those are their scissors, right? So they just leave the scissors there so she can cut her hair with them. Because the script said so. It's just dumb. That's like a lot of the stuff in the movie happens. It's like, well, because that's how it was written, and that's how it will happen. There's a car chase scene right after they get their coins, and they're like running away in a van, and they get wrecked by a train. Like, wrecked. It's like, it was hilarious, because it's like one of those moments where they're outrunning the train. You're thinking you're gonna have this moment where they beat the train. You're like, yeah, our heroes got away, but they just get smashed, and the van goes flying in the air, and they all just wake up in their bed in the same clothes and everything, and it makes 0 sense because the cops were pretty close behind them. So, however they got home, somehow the cops didn't see it, and it's also established the cops like didn't even find the because they go back to the mine like the next day, like 12 hours later. And the cops are just then towing the car away. Like, did you not find it until, like, recently? You were right there. You should have seen it get hit by that train. And they're just like, oh, there's no one in this van. Oh, well. Like, that's like investigation stuff you gotta do right there. So it's just little things that don't make sense. But the movie had potential. It really had potential. There were parts where you, like, actually started to care about the characters, and they would just be like, oh, but we gotta progress with the plot. When they first get their coins and they're all like super strong, and they're kind of like, oh, what's going on? Like, why are we super strong? And they're like, let's go back to the mine, and they kind of start like messing around and like, oh, we can jump really high and like climb these mountains super fast and stuff. That was the best part of the movie. Was just that little bit. They should have had like a whole day of that, of them getting to like, and that's how they should have got to know each other. Like they should have replaced all the training montages with them like messing around with their powers, or like just being super strong. There's clips in the trailer where like one of the kids jumps over like his house or something, and he talks about it in the movie, but it's not in the movie. He's like, oh, I jumped over my house this morning. And it's like, well, show me, like, the movie's really not that long. Give me more scenes like that. Like, that is the best part, where you start to get to learn the characters, like, and how they interact with each other. And that's even, like, the plot of the movie is they can't morph because they, like, don't get to know, like, they just don't care about each other or something. And so they can't morph. So, like, why not spend the movie showing them getting to know each other, but they just act confused the whole time. They're like, why can't we morph? And then Bryan Cranston's just like, you guys need to be one and get to know each other. And they're like, if only we knew why. And he, like, keeps telling them, and they just keep making fun of him, and it makes no sense. And then later, the guy's like, the Asian guy's just like, hey, I'm gonna stay on this mountain all night tonight, so let's get to know each other. And they're like, yeah. And they're all going around, and it's just like, they just like skip everyone. They're like, well, you know who I am. And then like literally is like the dialogue is just, everyone knows who I am, so let's skip me. And it's like, okay. And so they skip like Red Ranger, and they skip the other girl, because the Yellow Ranger, I think she is, because Pink Ranger, they skip her, the cheerleader girl, because she just doesn't want to talk about it. So she wastes everyone's time. She's like, no, not now. And it's like, well, when? This seems like the perfect time. If you've got like something that you want to tell the group, share with the class, like now would be the time, right? When you're doing like kumbaya around the fire. She's like, no. And all she did was like send some nudes around the school. And it was like, that's like a Ford. That's it. That's all she had to say. And her friends don't like her anymore. But she acted like she was like the worst person in the world for it, which is like a terrible thing to do, but like at the same time, like, he literally said like, oh, there's like hundreds of pictures going around the school. Like, what kind of school do you go to that does that? That's pretty crazy, dude. So like, she's just like 1 out of like 100, I guess. I mean, there's gotta be other kids that are worse than her, because everyone seems to like her. But yeah, there's just, movie rode the struggle bus the whole time. The guy who played Alpha 9, I can't think of his name. He sounded like Patton Oswalt. I thought it was Patton Oswalt the whole movie until I saw the credits, and I was like, oh, it was it's that other guy who's in he's in a lot of Saturday Night Live sketches and stuff. But his lines were just like awkward, because it was like really forced humor. Like, it was like, there was this really cringy line when he was like, oh, different color Rangers, different color kids. And it was like, ooh, like, that was just weird. You didn't need to say that. Overall, it's just a okay movie. It was okay.
It's morphin' time.
Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it.
Yeah, it seemed like they spent a lot of their budget on CGI and songs. And not that that's a bad thing, but it definitely showed, because the suits looked like half CGI. Which is like, you can just make a Power Ranger suit. No one's gonna care if it's like super realistic or like gritty, because the movie chose like a clear tone of like, okay, we want it to be cool and like gritty kind of, but then it doesn't really work for Power Rangers. I wanted it to be more campy and more like Power Rangers, like awkward fighting where like, and they kind of like established that they were super strong, so that they punched someone they would like fly away. But I wanted more of like the old Power Rangers, like awkward fighting, which probably didn't have a place in this movie, but you know, the hard what it wants what it wants.
That's a lot of gold.
This is your destiny.
Let's go!
So back from the store, while I was inside, I was thinking, I really actually want a second Power Rangers movie. They're gonna make another one, because they had the end credits scene, which they were like calling roll call for the detention, which every one of the kids was in now for some reason. Even though like the one kid, like it was established that he didn't even really go to school, and the girl didn't do anything. The Yellow Ranger, she never did anything. So I don't know why she was in detention. Anyway, they're doing roll call, and they call the name for the Green Ranger, which wasn't in the movie. But it was like a thing, and he just kept calling his name, and they kept like showing the halls and stuff. And so like obviously they're gonna have another movie with the Green Ranger in it. I don't know how they're gonna connect the two with like the origin that they chose, because he wasn't there. He didn't, or if he was just another random kid that was there. They got a coin. Maybe, I don't know. Hollywood, they'll think of something stupid. They always do. They gotta get their reboot money, their sequel money. But if they do make another one, I want more campy style Power Rangers. I don't want super serious. It took itself really seriously for a Power Rangers film, which it just didn't work. And I want more character-driven story, because this one, the plot was just based around like, okay, we have to morph because Bryan Cranston's telling us to, and we have to get to know each other because the script is telling us to. So let me just say random things about myself, and it was just like, okay. The character with the most development was the Blue Ranger, the young autistic kid, which was he was great. He was the best part of the movie because you felt emotionally attached to him, but not emotionally attached enough to care when he, spoiler, the whole thing is spoilers, whatever, when he dies, because it's a Power Rangers movie and he's like the best character in it so far. So, and it's like the first one, they're like, ooh, we killed the Blue. I'm like, no, you didn't. That guy's still alive. It didn't. Not for a second did I think he was dead. Well, I mean, he was dead, but they brought him back with Bryan Cranston's morphin energy or whatever. They don't explain a lot of stuff. They just kind of do stuff, and they're just like, well, that's how it works in the Power Rangers world. But yeah, I wasn't too concerned about the explanation. But the plot was just like, stop the girl from getting the MacGuffin. I didn't understand even what the MacGuffin was in this movie, so I didn't care. I mean, it's just, I don't know. No, nothing made me care about the movie. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about the town. The very forced relationship between the father's son with the Red Ranger and his dad at the end, and it was just like, I don't care about this either. And like, they never explain they don't explain his actions at all, because at the beginning of the movie he gets in trouble with the prank or whatever, and like messes up his leg and flips the car and stuff. But then his dad's like, look, your future is amazing. I don't understand why you're throwing it away like this. And he's like, you'll never understand. And it's like, well, yeah. And then like, you kind of get the impression that the dad is just like a jerk. But then throughout the movie, you kind of get the impression that he's just like a nice guy. And so it's like, what's the deal with the son? Why is he so rude? Like, why does he do this stuff? But they never explain it. And he's like a leader of the Rangers for some reason, even though he seems just like highly unqualified. But whatever. Like I said, solid 5 out of 10. 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Whatever. Much better than I thought it would be. Should you see it? I say yes, but like on Redbox DVD or something. Don't like go spend like real money. I mean, you probably can't anymore because the movie's been out for so long. And that's the only reason I saw it, is because I went to like a cheap theater. But yeah, if you guys like the show, please check out our podcast. All the links will be in the description. Like it and subscribe. All that jazz. And we'll see you next time.